I'm in my CI2 relationships database, and CI2 stands for Computer Inventory Number 2. In this database, I want to keep track of all the computers that my company has purchased. And what I've done is I've broken my data down into the smallest, most meaningful parts, or in this case tables, because again, I don't want to be able to lump this all into one table. If you dump this all into one table, does it make sense if I just want to pull up the employee's name and the street address to confirm that we have their correct address on file, that I also pull up the computers that are assigned to that employee, the departments that they belong to, the manufacturers? No, but if I dump that all into one table, and I've got thousands or tens of thousands of records, it's going to slow that system down. Not only that, but I have to scroll through all the fields to find the first name, last name, and also the street address. So I've broken them down into the smallest, most meaningful tables, and once I've done that, I need to be able to link them up or create a relationship between those tables. And it's a two-step process. Before I can go ahead and start linking these up, which we'll do in the next training video, I need to be able to create a place where they can actually relate from one table to the next. For example, in the computers table, when I double click and open that up, I've got all the fields here that I want to keep track of for my computers, but if I want this table to relate to other tables, like for example, I've got the manufacturers, I need to find out who manufactured my computer here, then I need to add what's called a foreign key field to this table that will link to the primary key or match the primary key field in the other table that I want to link it to. And as you recall, I briefly covered this in the previous training video, the foreign key. Think of it like this. Let's break the word foreign key apart. Foreign means it is something, in this case, that I wouldn't be adding to this table. In other words, this is about computers. It's not about the manufacturer, so it's foreign to it. So I have a separate table that's all about manufacturers. So there's the foreign part, and then the key comes in when I want to be able to create this foreign field that's not really a part of this table and link it to the primary key. The primary key that I want to relate to that field in another table. So I've got the foreign key field here. It's not the primary key. And how do I know that this hasn't been assigned the primary key? Well, if you click on the design button, you can look in the design view, and there's the primary key. It's assigned to the asset tag. So I have my manufacturer ID, and again, when you want to add fields, just go to the design view here and type it in, assign it the data type, and better yet, it's probably good that you add the description of what this field's about or why you added it. That way, if somebody else comes in, another designer, they can quickly figure out what you're doing here by reading or going over the description. So here it says the ID number of the computer manufacturer. Now where's that ID number? Well, it's in the manufacturers table when I double click on that, and it's right there. And that's the primary key field that I'm trying to link to, so I can go ahead and relate the computers table to the manufacturer. Is that the primary key? Well, by default, whenever I create my tables, the first field is always going to be the primary key. But again, if you need to find out, to verify, click on the Design View button, and there it is, the primary key. Now when it comes to wanting to relate one table to the next, you're going to go ahead and create a foreign key, and I would recommend typing in the exact same name as the primary key field in the table that you want to relate it to. So there's manufacturer ID in the manufacturers table. It's the manufacturer ID that the primary key has been assigned to. So you can just copy and paste it in here. You don't have to have exact names. You can just, in fact, have this as truncated as man ID. I mean, as long as it makes sense to you, that's fine. The computer isn't going to have a fit. But it will have a fit if you don't have the exact same data type. So make sure that the data type in this foreign key field matches the primary key's data type. But you could look at this and go, uh-oh, it's auto number. And in computers, you assigned it number. Well, the operative word being number, so this one's automatically going to generate a number, and it's a number field. So I'm going to add a number field here, because if I set this to auto number, then there's no way that I can link up, because this automatically generates a number, and it's competing against this field that's automatically generating a number. So there's no relationship between the two, because this could be on number 50, that could be on number 20. It's confusing. So I just want to be able to leave this open and have it match the data type, which is number, to number, even though it says auto number. If it was text, I want to make sure that over here this data type was text. So you want to exactly match it all except for auto number and number. One of them is going to be auto number and the other one's going to be number. And then finally, after you've got the name that you've added, and again I recommend making it the exact name as the primary key field in the other table you want to link up to or hook up to, relate to. After you type that in, make sure the data type's the same, and then one final thing that you want to make sure is the same. If you started already entering in data and you haven't set these fields up first, is that, let me go ahead and click on the View button to go back to the datasheet view, is make sure that the data that you're linking to in the primary key field is the same. So if I go to the tables here and go to the datasheet view, the IDs that are available here are 1 through 5. When I go back to the computers and I create new records, I can only enter in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't enter in 6 because when I link up to this one, the data integrity is going to be shaken up. And I'll show you how you can go ahead and lock that down so nobody can willy-nilly come in here and just type in any number they want and not have it already listed here as a manufacturer. So you've got to have the same data type, it's got to be the number field, and it's also, when we start entering in our records, be able to enter in the same data as we saw in the manufacturers, 1 through 5. Now when it comes to linking up your tables, in one way or another, you want to be able to link all your tables together. In other words, it doesn't have to be linear. We have to go from this one to this one to this one. They're typically linked in a roundabout way. For example, in the computers table, I've got the foreign key field that matches the manufacturer ID, primary key field, the manufacturers. I also got the employee ID. It's got the same data type. It's going to match the primary key field, the employee ID in the employees table. There it is. So I've got computers linked to, or going to be linked to, the employees and manufacturer. And I say going to be linked because right now it's just the setup. In other words, they can relate, but we haven't introduced them. We haven't had them shake hands or link up. And then what about the employees? So computers to employees and manufacturer, and because they're linked together this way, they're also linked together that way. And then what about departments? Then you can see the department code is going to match up to the department code, the primary key field there in the departments. So in a roundabout way, they're all linked. So later on, when we learn about queries and I want to be able to pull up, like let's say the name of an employee and what computer was assigned to him and which department he's in, I don't have to open up all these tables and go, okay, let's see. First, let me pull up the employee, and it's Bob, department code 300, and there's 300, and then go to the computers and find out which employee ID he is, and go to, let's see, the manufacturer. That's completely inefficient. So queries will show us how to get around that without having to open up 20 gazillion tables. Because they're all linked, you can quickly just pull in one field from one table, one field from another, and it will pull in all the data for you, all into one view, as you see here in this single datasheet view. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.